8:30 on the dot. Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. We're live and local on this Wednesday. It is June the 23rd. I'm Austin Reed, coming to you live from our Tower District studios. Here's a shot of the Tower District behind me, Olive and Van Ness outside our window. Hey, we're talking real estate now. Joining us in our studio live right now is Alex Rosh.
Hello.
Your first time on Central Valley Talk.
Thanks for
Welcome.
having me. Thank you.
All right, so we're talking real estate.
Yeah.
Before we get into how the market's doing, tell us your story and you know who you're with and all that good stuff.
Great, thanks. So I'm with the Bloom Group out of Visalia, California. We're what you would consider a boutique brokerage. So we're kind of in the middle of the size. We like to think of us as the big dogs. We're ready to play with all of the brands and the big names, but we have a little bit of our own style, and we get to work the way we want to work with the clients that we want to work with. Of course, we're willing and ready to work with anybody. A little bit about my background is I've been in customer service pretty much my entire adult life. Started working when I was about 15 and a half. My parents owned Baskin-Robbins for a little while, so I have a lot of background in business, entrepreneurship. I started a company myself called Scoop since 2018. I had since sold that company to move on into real estate because I was working at a family business full-time doing jewelry for over 10 years, meeting and making relationships in my area. I started to see the market shift in real estate, and I have always been involved. My father actually has been one of the first, I call him, home flippers. He's been flipping homes since early 90s. And so it's just something that I was always in and around, but I never really noticed or knew, and took off. And it's since the beginning of this year's when I started, I passed my real estate test, and it's, flying with the market.
Talk a little bit about the market in Visalia, that area.
Yeah, so the market in general is just very slim pickings. It's the best word I can use. From California to New York, everybody's kind of dealing with the same onset of problems of low inventory and low interest rates. So a lot of people are excited to borrow money, or a lot of people, because of the low inventory, the home prices have increased in some areas by 50% in the last year or two, which is a huge number in real estate, in any investment usually, correct? And so it's created a little bit of a hectic, crazy market where people are paying cash up and above appraisals of anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000. Now, of course, those are in the bigger metropolitan areas, the Bay Area and Los Angeles. Now, what's happening is a lot of people are choosing to work from home, or a lot of people have chosen to retire, which, with the home prices rising in areas like LA in the Bay Area, you're seeing $300,000 in equity gained. So they're able to come to a place like Visalia and buy up a home and an investment property. So again, it's not about where the work is anymore because of COVID and everybody going, what's the word? Mobile, or working from home now. So it's just a big shift in the market has created a really low inventory of homes.
So would you say at this point, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
So very interesting question. I will answer it like this. It is a seller's market because you are getting hand over fist offers, 20 offers, 60 people in the showings. What happens to a seller once they sell? They initially usually transfer to a buyer.
Yeah.
So that's what has become the stalemate in the real estate market. Is I would be more than happy to sell my house right now personally. There is not a house to replace my house, even within the profit I will gain. And so it's creating, again, just more of an inventory problem. Of course, if you are not familiar with lumber prices, amongst everything else that has gone up, lumber prices has shot through the roof. The commodity price was around $500 to $700 and pre-COVID. Now it went up to $1,500. It's kind of scaled back down to around $1,000. This is taking one piece of particle board that was used for building a home that used to cost $17 to $25 is now $80. So in new construction, it's increased the price of the house that you already agreed to by $20,000 or $30,000. So a lot of the new home builders have had to actually stop building. So even more of a, how would I say, an influx in less homes?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So again, it's just with a couple different perfect storms created this low inventory hurricane.
We've never seen anything like this in decades, right? I mean,
A lot of people want to be the first person to call out the bubble bursting as it did back in 2008. A lot of people are familiar with what happened in 2008. I personally believe 2008 was driven by a lot more pocketed areas. So those pocketed areas started to raise the price of homes everywhere, but the industry only backed those pocketed areas. So now we're not talking about a bubble bursting. We might say the word correction, but in reality, pre-COVID, in Visalia, which is Tulare County, so it encompasses a couple of cities, we were seeing at a low point pre-COVID around 1,000 homes on the market. Maybe several years before, upwards of 5,000 homes on the market, which would definitely be considered a buyer's market.
sure.
Now what we have in Visalia, specifically Tulare County on the MLS, we have 333 properties as of today.
Oh my goodness.
So imagine,
Dang.
you want Visalia, you just knocked off 300 of those.
Right.
Or,
Wow.
yeah, so it's become a cash is king game, and it's become an investor's game where they're willing to take the risks or even have a loss because of what they've gained.
Right. Right.
And so people like myself, or especially I feel terrible for first-time home buyers, or even VAs, vets, retired from the military or active military, have an opportunity to get a VA loan. Has a better rate, but unfortunately it usually has a little bit more of a stringent appraisal process, which will essentially scare the seller out of accepting those offers, to the point where we even see verbiage on the listing that says, please don't even send him.
Goodness.
So
That's man. We have realtors on, but you've explained it very, very well and very in-depthly, and we thank you for that. And for first-time home buyers, then my question is, should they wait?
It's a hard question. I am actually going through the process with my younger brother.
Oh.
I'm trying very hard to put myself personally into his shoes. I am also a believer in the fact that if not now, then when? I am also a believer in, if you buy a house that is overpriced, even in the market today, that if you choose a home that you see as your foreseeable future home for the next 5 to 10 years, regardless of what happens in the market, you should be okay. You should be able to maybe even transition that home into a rental home with your equity and purchase a second home.
Okay.
These are all things that could happen. They're not guaranteed to happen. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. But what we have seen is, in the last 2 years, hand over fist, is an increase in the price of homes, with also a lowering interest rate. The Fed is stepping in and trying to make it more accessible. But again, it's kind of like the typical government help, where it's too little too late. They have a down payment assistance program available for almost somewhere around $20,000 at this point.
Is that the FHA?
So that's something on top of FHA.
Okay.
So FHA will allow a first-time home buyer to come in with a minimalist down payment, where a VA loan will actually allow you no down payment. So this is amazing for somebody who's paying $1,600 in rent.
I know.
Looking at a $300,000 house that might have a $1,700 mortgage. It's really hard to come up with $17,000 or $20,000 cash to purchase that home.
Exactly.
So that's kind of the downfall in a lot of people's home ownership.
But you're available to, walk everybody through the process.
100%.
And, and Visalia is a cool little spot. It really is. And it's growing, too.
Yes.
It's like 150,000 people already.
Yeah,
so.
and more every day.
More every day, yeah. We've got about a minute left. You soon may have a property coming up in Exeter?
Yes, yeah. So that's one thing that I really want to touch on is as a certified realtor licensed in California, I am a part of the MLS for everywhere in Tulare County, and me and my team at the Bloom Group can sell a home anywhere in California. We can also refer you outside of the area to make sure you're working with an expert realtor with great reviews. So feel free to reach out. The Exeter listing should be live in the next 20 to 30 days, but check out bloomgroupre.com or, of course, alexrosh.com for all of our listings that are live today.
All right, very good. And then your phone number, 559-799-9534.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out on Instagram, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Our pleasure. Come back anytime, okay?
My pleasure.
All right, Alex Rosh, check him out online or give him a call. I'm Austin Reed. We're going to take a quick break. We'll have more Central Valley Talk in just a bit. Hang tight.